And welcome back to The Price of Business. This is Sigmund Kramer, producer extraordinaire, heading in here for Kevin. He couldn't make it for this segment, but that's okay because you know what? I have a phantasmagorical guest. His name is Lance Malone. Lance, how are you doing? Standard Supply, been around for a long time. You've been on the show here with Kevin for a long time. Tell us more about yourself and Standard Supply, will you?
Okay, Sigmund, thanks a lot. Standard Supply is a distributor of heating, air conditioning, refrigeration, and ventilation products, and we've been working with the best contractors in Texas since 1946, helping them with the products and services they need to keep people comfortable in their homes and keep businesses at a nice temperature and good indoor air quality.
Well, that's important here in Texas, especially. It gets rather hot and humid down here where we are. And
not in Houston, no.
Never.
The weather's always beautiful here.
Not if you've got good AC.
That's right. You can learn more about our company, Sigmund, at ssdhvac.com. ssdhvac.com.
Yep. And you've been around since 1946, so you're a new company.
Yeah, fairly new.
Yeah.
Let's see, in European terms, that would be new.
Right, exactly. Now, obviously, you guys know what you're doing, and you always bring us great guests. Who do you have today?
I've got another great guest for you today, Sigmund. I've got Brian Spiwack. Brian is the owner of Castle Air Conditioning here in Houston, and you can get in touch with them at 713-667-7606. That's Castle Air Conditioning. And Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I wanted to have you tell us a little bit about your background and then tell us about Castle Air Conditioning and what you do there.
Well, my original exposure to air conditioning was really in the appliance end in California. When I moved to Texas, I started off in the mobile home industry doing air conditioning for modular housing. And as time progressed, there was so much travel in that I tried to get into residential, and I'm almost exclusively residential now. And I'm a small company. I started in '78. It's just me and my employee, Josh Cartwright, and we primarily work in Southwest Houston.
Okay, awesome. How'd you come up with the name Castle Air Conditioning?
Well, since I specialize mostly in air conditioning, residential, I thought the name Castle would be easy to remember and kind of a play on a person's homes or castle.
Right.
Especially if the AC's working.
That's right. It makes it a much more pleasant castle in that situation. So over the past few years, really up to about 10 years ago, most people in their home had a little rectangular box on the wall, had a little sliding dial on it with some printed numbers and dashes, and that's what we had for controls until just the last several years. But we've had a lot of developments recently in being able to be connected to your house and your air conditioning system. So could tell us a little bit about that and what that's done to our industry recently.
Well, some of these new technologies can solve different problems that people might have that a normal thermostat just incapable of solving. For example, some of these Honeywell RedLink products, you can control humidifiers, dehumidifiers, and other ventilation devices, which a normal thermostat would be incapable of.
Okay.
Also, if you put different sensors in the equipment, you could actually get an alert if let's say you had a float switch or some kind of a failure in your system, and it would shut the unit down and notify you. So you could be at work and be notified via your smartphone.
That's great. There's a term that's really common to you and I, but it's probably not common to most of the people that are listening to the show today, and that's Delta T. It's a term that we talk about, and now they actually have these sensors that are capable of monitoring that. So why don't you explain what that is and tell about how that's important for the homeowner?
Well, most air conditioning, when it's functioning properly, you're going to have a certain amount of temperature drop coming out of your ductwork. Typically, it's between 16 to 20 degrees. If you had a way to measure that and all of a sudden you notice that that temperature drop is no longer, we'll say 18 would be normal, it's 10 degrees, that would be a heads up that there's something going on that needs further looking into.
Right, so that might even be a situation where the homeowner might not even notice that their system is not functioning properly because it is cooling, but because you've installed these sensors, you're able to know that there's a problem on the way.
That's absolutely correct, and sometimes failures just don't happen overnight. They're a progressive decline in cooling. For example, someone could have an extremely dirty unit or possibly a loss of refrigerant. And even if you don't know anything about air conditioning, you would be alerted to the fact that things just aren't acting normal.
That's awesome. You know, what are some of the other benefits to the homeowner of being connected to your HVAC system via your smartphone or your tablet?
Well, I've had people who have weekend homes that they go to either in Galveston or the Hill Country, and they don't want to keep their empty house 72 degrees while they're gone. So they have a capability, if they have internet connection, to cool their house down before they ever get home and not have a high electric bill because they're not keeping an empty house cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, if you travel a lot or you have a second home, like you mentioned, Brian, that's a wonderful tool. What about for businesses? Is there some other benefits for a commercial application for this type of technology?
Well, the thing with businesses is when you're able to control something from a remote location, you don't have to rely on somebody, for example, turning up a thermostat when they leave, or if you don't know what the temperature of your business is, you don't have to drive 20 miles back to work to find out if everyone did what they were supposed to. So monitoring it from a remote location is a breeze.
That's great. Well, we're running out of time for this segment, Brian. I really appreciate you being with me. Again, Sigmund, I've got my guest here, Brian Spiwack.
Yep.
Brian is the owner of Castle Air Conditioning, servicing the Southwest Houston area, and you can get in touch with them at 713-667-7606. Find out more about Standard Supply at ssdhvac.com.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Lance. Thanks so much for being on. And folks, we'll be back in just a minute with more Price of Business. Stay tuned.